we should bring on our special guest. What do you reckon? And then we can get on to the rest of the.
He's waiting in the green room, waiting patiently. He's getting his makeup done, just making him look pretty, and then we can get him in here. What do you reckon? We'll get him in now.
This face can take no more makeup. It's done, guys. It's the best I got.
No, you're looking good, Gooch.
Well, thanks.
How are you feeling?
You guys? I feel I'm about 85%. I've been dealing with a little bit of pneumonia. Obviously, something went through our team. I was trying to do it outside in the O'Brien Ice House, but we've got a lot of these young kids, the Ice Wolves, practicing, so I think it would have been a little bit too loud. But thank you for asking. It's been I've been struggling a little bit with asthma, and along the way, Tatsu got sick. Our goaltender, you knew that, didn't play last week. We were concerned it was glandular fever, which would have been, oh my God, we're in trouble. And I unfortunately got the bacterial part of the disease, and he had the virus. So with the proper medicine and drugs, the Gooch is on the mend. Actually end up, this is a real quick story. I had to go to the hospital at 3 o'clock in the morning because I was really struggling. I thought I was having a heart attack. Get there. No, Gooch, you're in great shape. And the doctor that came in said, hey, what do you do? I said, I'm the head coach of the Melbourne Ice. And he said, oh my God, my best friend was Josh Walt, who just got a job in Kingston. And I said, I coached him. Do you know what? I got red carpet treatment. It was unbelievable. Josh Walt, thank you very much for taking care of the Gooch.
That is awesome.
Oh, that's phenomenal. That's great. Yeah.
Kerry Goulet, he knows everyone.
Hey, listen, what a great set. Before we get started, I just want to pay a big, huge compliment to you. I love everybody and I love everything about ice hockey, but I'll tell you what, the professionalism of your show and the way this looks, you've got the Goodall Cup. I'm just going to show you something. I just had to top you guys because you know what? It looks good, but look at what I'm saying. I went up there. Great job, guys. Great show, and I'm really excited and honored to be on it.
No, thank you. We have some stats for you from our head of analytics, Tristan Metcalf, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. But he mentioned that the one of the big differences this season is the defense, and the offense is scoring about the same as last season, but defensively you're giving up 4 less goals per game, 12 less shots per game, and your penalty kill is about 20 points above what it was. What's changed? What's happened?
Well, the coach is pretty good. No. You know what it is. I obviously last year it was a difficult year for me. I thought I knew the landscape coming into Melbourne, and unfortunately, as you know, being an older guy, having older systems, dealing with younger players, I wasn't prepared. I got to be honest. There were a lot of criticism that came at me. A lot of people said, this is one of the worst coaches in Melbourne's history. I took it to heart, of course, because I knew I was better than what the record showed. You saw at the end of the year, we started to get much better. But I realized it gave me a year. It always takes time, guys. I'm from Canada. As you know, I live in Toronto and in Winnipeg. I do a lot of work in Germany, played my professional career there. And so my philosophy was maybe not right for this particular time. And what happened was, because I inherited the team, I didn't get to handpick everybody. I got the year to learn. I actually went to school, if you believe it or not. Even a 64-year-old guy, now 65, can learn. And I went home determined to come back better. And I did. And I owe it to a guy named Malcolm Sutherland. I owe it to a guy named Justin Pekka and Doug Orr, actually the nephew of Bobby Orr. They were running the KHA under-18 team. They were I was so privileged to become their assistant coach. And I got to work with kids at 16, 17, 18 years old and find out the nuances. I never coached with this before, right? We didn't do that. So when I came here, the first year, I thought I knew everything. Man, did I know nothing. And then when I got over to Canada, I really started to learn. And then the one thing I can say what I'm good at is I'm pretty good bench manager. Am I a technical coach with all the X and O's? I'm not the greatest, but I got a great team now with Brent Laver, just newly arrived. It's going to be a new announcement. Paul Rosen, who is here, will be a new assistant coach on the bench with the Melbourne Ice. He's got tremendous experience, obviously winning a gold medal for Team Canada. I surrounded myself with great people, but I'm going to say one thing. Joey Hughes. That's all I got to say.
We know you love Joey. But one thing I want to ask you, Gooch, with Tatsu being out and putting in young Tom Forrest, who everyone really rates Tom highly. How pleased were you for Tom to come in and get those wins?
Yeah. Well, first I want to correct you. I didn't like Joey Hughes when he was playing for Canberra. He was actually sitting close to our bench last year, and he was chirping me. I was chirping him. I just want to say that he is a class act. He called me up during the winter and actually asked me, Kerry, listen, I'm winding down my career. I'd love to come home and play. I'd love to play for you. What do you think? And I said, you know what? We've already got veteran leadership with Liam Webster, a legend, Jamie Burke, a legend, Mac Caruana as our captain. We've just got great leadership in that dressing room. And so I said, you don't have to ask me, bud, when are you getting here? And he walked in the dressing room, and something that his accolades. I don't want to go through all that. He walked in the dressing room, looked around, all the seats were full, or all the stalls were full, and he said, "Hey boys, anywhere for me to sit?" 4 guys got up out of their chair and said, "This is yours." It just shows you the respect. So I love the kid. I'm so blessed to be able to coach a young kid like Tommy Forrest. Tommy and I had a very good year last year, believe it or not. He didn't play as much as we'd like him to. He's going to have a tough time getting in this lineup, obviously, with Tatsu, but we are definitely going to use him because he is a very good, technically sound coach. Paul Rosen, who, again, I mentioned to you, won a gold medal in sled hockey, para hockey. He's here for that. That's specifically why he's here, to work with him over the next few months, along with Tatsu, and get him up to speed so that eventually we don't need to have import goalies. I know everybody knows my thoughts on import goalies. The unfortunate part of the import goalies is it takes away from the locals. How do they get better if they don't play? So we're committed to Tom Forrest. Michael James, who is going to be our emergency backup, is working with him. So I'll tell you what, we've got a great future, and I was so happy. The difference is sometimes you have to make the decision to make a change. We were looking at where we were going to slot Tommy in our schedule. Obviously going 10-0 and then losing to Perth. We decided that we were going to start using him a couple more times. And then Tatsu got sick, and it forced my hand. I had no other option. We talked to Mikey James. He said, of course, no, he wants to see Tommy go. And I believed in Tommy. And look at we couldn't have asked for better. The kid is legitimately there. He's here now, and he showed that over the weekend.
Yeah, we've got quite a lot of good quality goaltenders, like young guys coming through in the league. I mean, along with Forrest, there's Trinker in Adelaide, there's Monty in Newcastle. Like, these are guys who are like 18, 19 who, bright futures.
So if I could just say, obviously me being an elderly statesman, traveling the world, been everywhere and anywhere, I've done it all. The one thing that I noticed is Australian ice hockey is very similar to when I first arrived in Germany. They were really trying to determine what import goalies, how many, and all that. And I think the decision that the German Ice Hockey Federation made back then, they decided that no import goaltenders. And it took a couple of years, no question. And all of a sudden you saw the improvement of those goaltenders. Because in this country, guys, when I was in Germany, our goalies had 5 times a week training. Here, they're getting 2 times a week training, and you just can't develop. That's no criticism to the Ice Hockey Australia League. It's no criticism to the Ice Hockey Australia. That's just the way this system is made up. And so I'm hoping that we can continue on developing a young man like Tommy Forrest, who has all the tools in the toolbox. It's on my watch to make him not only a top national goaltender, but more importantly, to be the future of obviously the Melbourne Ice.
And Gooch, does Tommy and Ishida work very closely together? I'm just wondering.
I've never seen. Real quickly, a lot of people don't know the story. I know I don't have much time, so I'll just give you some of the things that I think you'd really like to know. I owe it to Kikuchi, Yuga Kikuchi, playing for the Melbourne Mustangs. He decided to go down the hallway, which is okay. I have no problems with that. He just wanted to be, a change of scenery, which is good. And we were talking away. Kikuchi and I have a really special bond. I've always said after the season I was going to go and spend time in Japan. I've never been there, and he had invited me to go and visit his parents and stuff like that. No, there's no way they would let me in his house. And as we were continuing our conversation, he said, "But you know what, Kerry? I've got a friend that plays in college. His name is Tatsu Ishida. He's a goalie. He's really good." And he left it at that. So I did my due diligence, started to look around, found him, started to find out what he was doing, where he's at. Obviously, he's a 24-year-old goaltender in Japan. They play their elders for a longer period of time and not bring up the youth as quick. So I found out his goalie coach, I apologize, I can't remember his name off the top of the bat. I must have spent 10 hours with him. He's from the Oshawa Generals, and he's their goalie coach, who is a good friend of Keith Primo's. So I called Keith and said, "Could you make the introduction?" Made the introduction. And as soon as I told him his name, he said this, quote unquote, "Sign him. He is the quickest from post to post. He is dedicated. He'll be on the ice before everybody else. He'll leave the ice the latest. He'll have his GoPro. He'll be sitting there doing these fancy tricks with his eyes for eye tracking. He is what I was told and better." So I got lucky there.
That's amazing.
And it was a risk, guys. Don't forget. It's like going and buying a car without taking a test drive. I took a gamble. I took the advice of a couple of very quality people. One being Kikuchi, telling me it was good. Was a little concerned because he's a Mustang now. Maybe maybe there was a little bit of an issue with his lower end or something. But when it ended up finding out from the goalie coach that he was the guy, the risk was mitigated by the fact that this guy said he would probably be a goalie that could be a backup in the OHL or at the time or CIS level. And we saw what Liam Hughes did last year.
Awesome.
Did you want to go, Diggy, or sorry?
I thought you were going to chuck some. I thought you were going to chuck some comments up.
Yeah, well, I can. I've got Corey Coutinho who's giving you some throwing some shade. I'm still waiting for a Gooch quick story that's actually quick. But we've got Casey Arkansas with the Bears. Glad to hear you're feeling better, Gooch.
Thank you, Casey.
That's nice. We've got a comment from Andrew John Egan. The support in front of Tommy was solid. He really met the moment. Crowd rallied around him too. And I think Andrew John Egan, it's the potential is going to be some expenses are going to be coming his way because his daughter met Tom Forrest and now wants to be a goalie. So that's a cheap pastime. Jessica Calder, Tom did an incredible job and seems to be a lovely guy too.
He is. He's one of the nicest guys you'll meet.
And then going back even further, issue now is Kerry has to one up on the trophies every time he's on now. Memorial Cup up next. And again, Joey Hughes has a picture in his attic getting older. I've watched the AIHL so long. I remember him from the first ice three-peat. Those two comments from Anthony Russell. Doogie.
Gooch, after the start of the season, and I spoke about this on your show as well, that not many people would have picked that start to the season. Getting that first loss and then rebounding the way you did, were you surprised that the group rebounded like that to get back on the winner's sheet straight away? Or did you sort of think that this group has obviously got something? Because sometimes when you have a start like that and you get a first loss, it can drop off pretty quickly in some teams.
Hey, great question. And I think people, please don't take it with arrogance. I've been around the game a long time and see a lot of players. I played with a guy named Mark McKay in my daytime, relentless to the puck, challenged even practice. We had some practices were harder than some of the games we played. And that's what I see with our team right now. When Joey Hughes and Liam Webster and Jamie Burke are on the ice, they are relentless. And so it's feeding the kids, the young players on our team. But what I got to say, you guys have seen it. Johnny Onso and Jeff Solo on our back end. I don't think there's a better tandem. And when we need to go with a tandem, they could play probably 5 minutes of a period. We are rock solid. We get our puck out of zone really quickly. And so when Paul Rosen and I were sitting back in Canada putting together the team, along with obviously Brent Laver and Austin Lefkovich, who's doing a great job, lefty, we started to look and really dream about what this team could mean when all those guys came into the lineup, and then add the imports we got. For God's sakes, Erdogan, outside of this incident, I know we may have to touch upon it. It's terrific. What a great import. I'm hoping that we get past what obviously has happened over the weekend. And of course, having the captain, Matt Caruana, play so good with him, along with Hughes. And now just today flies in Roman Kramer, Austin Albrecht. God, I don't want to jinx it. I'm going to say he's going to be the best import by the end of this season, just because his relentless to the puck and how this kid tracks the puck and the way he can shoot. But hey, listen, there's a lot of ice hockey to be played. We still got a lot of teams that are going to be gunning for us. And when we talked about the first 10, I really thought 7-3 was realistic. I never, in my wildest dreams, thought 10-0 was a possibility.
If you don't mind, can we ask? Has there been an update on Erdogan with the elbow against the Adrenaline?
There is not. I think they've obviously put out all the suspensions. This one I think is sitting in a tribunal. He is a second offender. Again, I don't want to comment at this particular time until I hear the situation. But I can tell you this: all ice hockey fans, I know I've taken a little bit of a hit on the social media. I can assure you, and it can be quantified, I was with that kid for the last 30 minutes once I got in the dressing room. I worked with their people. I brought our doctors in. We called Canada to our concussion specialist. They've got my number. It's 24/7. They have a doctor in Adelaide that I've lined up. And so all I can say is, from the Melbourne Ice perspective, we don't like what we saw. It is what it is. It's a very reactionary sport. And that young man is all I'm focused on, making sure he gets better. We will be there along the way. Stop concussions. Again, I have to wear a couple of hats. I am the coach of the Melbourne Ice, but I also realize that the concussions change lives, and we'll be there for that young man the whole way through as he heals from this injury.
What is what's the one player this season, Kerry, that has surprised you with this start for the Ice? Is there someone that you've seen in the preseason and you thought, okay, this player is going to show a little bit, but has actually shown you more than actually what you thought?
Yeah, I've got names like Sincata, Laver, Kasha, Hughes, Webster, Bork, Caruana, Carini, outstanding. This kid's going to be an absolute stud in this league. Obviously, having players, the younger players, the Naves of the world, the Gowers stepping up. One of the most improved players. He's a guy that was never on our radar, Ray Cahill. This kid worked. He's not a kid. He's 30 years old. He has worked his butt off to make this club. He's on the roster. He's like our 10th forward. I'll tell you what, I got a soft spot for the guy. He just works and works and works. It'd be unfair to me to say one player. I think what's really important, what the surprise is the dressing room. And I've been in many dressing rooms. And what I've seen is once the imports walked in the dressing room, it was like family. There was no, you didn't feel any disconnect. It was like when Johnny Anzo sat down with the defensive corps, you thought he'd been playing with these guys for 10 years. You don't get that often. This is a special group. Can we go and win the Goodall Cup? I'm not going to guarantee that. I'm not Marc Messier. But I think we've got a good chance of going deep. And if I could give one player, it's the collective. It's not just one player.
Well, we've got some experts comments here from Michael Clough, who's does a great job with the commentary. He says, I've seen plenty of Melbourne Ice from the Combox over the past 13 years. This year so far has been one of the most enjoyable. So that's quite a...
Hey guys, I've got fans here. They're Mustang fans, but they're starting to throw stuff at me. Matty
No, but,
Armstrong's in the house. Matty Armstrong, one of my favorite players. Matty and I actually
He's
played,
great.
not together, but we played in the same city in Germany. I played in Deggendorf probably about 20 years before he did. I was a star. He was a star 20 years later. Matty Armstrong is in the house.
He's a great guy. Great to see him coming back with the Mustangs as well this
Yeah.
season after a long
Yeah.
layoff. Anything else from you, Sean?
No, it's been a real pleasure watching your team this year.
Thank you.
Good. Like you guys were down in Canberra a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, it unbelievable to watch. So yeah.
Before you let me go, I just wanted to find one moment. If you ask questions, but give me 1 minute to tell you something that I'm going to tell you something that I think defines our season already. Do you want to do it now?
Yeah, sure.
Two things. And this is not a Joey Hughes ad. This is just a fact of watching players play. We're up 5-2 in our rink. We lose the puck in their zone. Joey Hughes is behind the net. He's 38 years old. There's 4 minutes to go in the game. And what happens? The kid picks the puck up, skates one-on-one on our defenseman. And as he's getting ready to shoot just inside the blue line, our blue line, Joey Hughes lifts the puck up, skates back downwards, and hits the goalpost. 38 years old, 4 minutes left in a 5-2 win. That shows what our team's all about. And then sitting in Canberra, I think one of you were there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
we were down 3-1. We had some bad luck. Things just didn't seem to go in our way. And I was on the bench, looking down the bench, and I saw guys like Caruana. I saw Burke. I saw Solo, all sitting there, really focused with it going into that third period. And the defining moment was that to win that game in a shootout was truly remarkable because they had us. It just took one more shot, one more goal, and I think that could have turned things could have changed. But up stepped Joey Hughes, wins the faceoff back to Liam. I think he shoots to score, and then we tie it from a goal by Hughes, and then I think it was Erdogan that scored the overtime, the shootout goal. That really, when I'm going to look back, I'm going to say that really showed us not only we are a team, we're going to fight together. We had a little bit of issues with, let's just call some phantom calls, and we killed off 24 penalties in a row, including 4 5-on-3s. That is absolutely incredible. Compliment to all my players.
Yeah, and Corey Coutinho just mentioning that stat too, the 24 consecutive penalties killed. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Sydney very soon, Kerry. So yeah, looking forward to seeing the ice in person. A couple of people in the chat. Phil Taylor, I got to watch the ice on Sunday. They were so impressive as a unit. And some more love for Ishida. Ash loved Ishida. What a find. But thank you so much for joining us. Kerry. Sorry, Sean.
Oh, I just wanted to quickly say when the Ice were down in Canberra, I met up with Kerry after the Sunday game. And one thing that struck me was the fact that both Kerry and Matt Karuna were out the back of the dressing room, and they were getting broken sticks and that signed for kids from Canberra. And I just thought, here is the away team, and they're out there helping the community and building up. What a great spirit for hockey. I just thought that tells you a lot about this team and about the players and coach.
Cheap plug, guys. Don't forget the Ice Hockey Classic is bringing back the Tour of Hope the front of July. The Indigenous is coming back. I can't tell you the response we've had from every city. We're going to be playing in Melbourne. I'm sure we'll get an opportunity to speak. I just want to do a shameless plug because it's so important that we as a ice hockey community, ice hockey family, have inclusion in our Indigenous, allowing them to understand through education and sport. They have an opportunity to see the world. The world is their oyster. I'm honored to be able to do such a thing like this. And I know Andrew, Gordon, and Sean, I know you're going to be a big part of it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Not only what you've done for me and helping me bring this to this country, but more importantly, what you're doing for the AIHL and hockey all across this country. You guys are good at what you do. I love it. I'm even learning some stuff. I love your setup. So watch for the next one. I may have that Memorial Cup up on my next show.
No, thanks very much, Kerry. Thanks, Gooch.
See you guys.
Thanks so much,
Thank
Kerry.
you. Thank you for the time.
There you go.